It was the kind of night people pray to avoid. Heavy rain, empty streets, and a power outage across half the city. That's when she saw him. A man in an expensive suit, sitting on the pavement near a broken-down car. Soaked, injured, alone. She didn't know who he was. She didn't care. She just knew he needed help. And sometimes, that's enough. Her name was Aisha, 22 years old, living in a small two-room house on the edge of the city. She worked part-time at a bookstore, studied at night, and took care of her sick mother. Life had never been easy, especially after her father lost his job 3 years ago. He used to work at a massive corporation, loyal for over 20 years, until one sudden decision from upper management cost him everything. No warning, no explanation, just a letter. That day changed their lives forever. Her father never recovered from the humiliation. Back on that stormy night, Aisha approached the stranger carefully. "Are you okay?" she asked. He looked up. His face showed pain, but also pride. "I'm fine," he said, trying to stand, and failing. He had clearly twisted his ankle. His phone battery was dead. The car wouldn't start. And no taxis were running in that storm. She hesitated for only a second. "You can come to my house," she said. "It's small, but it's dry." He looked surprised. People don't usually trust strangers that easily, especially not in a city like this. But something in her voice felt genuine. So he agreed. Her house was exactly what you'd expect. Simple furniture, faded curtains, a small dining table. She gave him a towel, made him tea, wrapped his ankle with a bandage. No questions about money. No curiosity about status. Just kindness. He watched her quietly, studied the way she moved around the kitchen, the way she spoke gently to her mother. She wasn't trying to impress him. She didn't even know who he was. And for the first time in years, he felt normal. The next morning, sunlight replaced the storm. He checked his repaired phone. Over 50 missed calls. Dozens of urgent messages. Because he wasn't just any man. He was Rian Malik, CEO of one of the largest tech corporations in the country. A billionaire. A man people feared more than they admired. A black luxury car stopped outside Aisha's small home. Security stepped out first. Then assistants. Her neighbors stared in confusion. Aisha froze at the door. "Who are you?" she whispered. Rian adjusted his cufflinks calmly. "I own the company Malik Enterprises." Her face changed instantly. Not because he was rich, but because she knew that name too well. Her father used to work there. 20 years of loyalty. Then one restructuring decision. One signature. And he was out. No severance package. No proper explanation. Just gone. That signature? It belonged to Rian Malik. The air between them felt heavier than the storm last night. "So it was you," she said quietly. He didn't deny it. "At the time, I was making business decisions," he replied. "Numbers. Performance. Efficiency." She laughed softly. "To you, he was a number. To us, he was everything." Silence filled the room. Her mother watched nervously from the corner. Rian looked around the small house again. Now he understood why it felt familiar. He had seen thousands of files, employee histories. He remembered a case vaguely, a senior employee with declining performance. But he had never looked beyond the report. He had never seen the human side. Until now. "You helped me last night," he said finally. "You didn't know who I was." "That's called humanity," she replied. "Something your company seems to forget." His pride could have reacted. He could have left. But he didn't. Because something inside him shifted. Over the next week, he investigated her father's termination file personally. What he discovered shocked him. The numbers were manipulated. The manager had pushed false reports. Internal politics had influenced the decision. And he had signed it without verifying deeply. For the first time, Rian Malik felt something rare. Guilt. He returned to her house again. This time without security. "I made a mistake," he admitted. Her father looked at him with tired eyes. "You can't return 3 years of dignity," he said calmly. Rian nodded. "No. but I can try to make it right. The next month, Malik Enterprises announced a new internal review policy. Wrongful terminations were investigated. Compensation was offered where necessary. Aisha's father received not only compensation, but a public apology, not through lawyers, but directly from the CEO. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. Rian offered Aisha something unexpected. Not money, not charity, a job, an internship in the strategic ethics department he had just created. "Why me?" she asked. "Because you showed me something my boardroom never could," he replied. "You reminded me that behind every number is a human being." She didn't accept immediately. She thought about it, prayed about it, then agreed. Not for him, but to make sure no other family experienced what hers did. Months later, Malik Enterprises began changing. Employee satisfaction improved. Policies became transparent. And at every major decision meeting, one voice spoke clearly and confidently. Aisha's, the girl who once offered shelter in a storm. And as for Rian, he never forgot that night. Not because he was stranded, but because someone with almost nothing showed him what true wealth really is. Because sometimes, the biggest surprise isn't discovering someone is a billionaire. It's discovering that kindness can transform even the most powerful hearts. If you enjoyed this story, remember, never underestimate small acts of kindness. You never know whose life you're changing, or how they might change yours.